Welcome to Short Coverlet. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here for this week's edition of The Internet Hates Me.
Adrian reads Harry Potter. This is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, chapters 20 and 21.
Oh no.
You ready for this? You're ready for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Brief rundown.
Thought I could argue out.
Chapter 20 is the first task. Moody offers some assistance to Harry Potter, which is a little bizarre because he's a professor, but whatever. Harry gives a hint to Cedric Diggory that there will be dragons. That's the first task. All the contestants defeat their respective dragon. Harry Potter is tied for first place, but Karkaroff lowballs him. Gives him a 4.
Yeah.
That bastard. Chapter 21 is the House Elf Liberation Front. The egg is opened. It reveals a shrieking noise. It is referred to as possibly a banshee. We don't know what that is yet. We get to meet Winky and Dobby again because they are now employees of Hogwarts. And Bagman may be a bad man. At least that's what Winky says.
Right.
So, where would you like to start with this?
Well, I'd like to start with the fact that we finally wised up. And we are decorating for Harry Potter. Up top here, we got Creeper and Crookershanks. We've got Hipster Professor and Pink Dress. We got Blondie and the Alien.
That's fairly accurate.
All on set.
I'm just going to give that to you.
Okay.
But good on us.
You're going to let that go.
We're just going to let it go. I was actually hoping you were going to go through and name all of them and be like, and Jen Campbell. Look, Jen Campbell's here. You missed an opportunity. You missed it.
Why are you making fun of me?
Because Jen Campbell is Voldemort, and you missed a great opportunity. But anyway, what would you like to talk about?
Jen Campbell is not brother. My sibling in arms.
Oh, yeah?
I think so.
You poetry people.
I think that's why she likes this series, because it's just me tearing apart obvious garbage.
Well, what part would you like to tear apart first?
For me, it starts with Bagman.
Okay.
With Bagman.
Bagman.
This is going to shorten the odds on Potter. Bagman's the one who put Harry Potter's name in the Goblet of Fire, isn't he? And he bet money on Harry Potter, and he's trying to fix it so that he wins.
Okay. Interesting.
That's also why he's willing to give away secrets. Though everyone seems willing to give away secrets, none of them are in charge of the games.
Well, as Moody put it, cheating is a very important part of this tournament.
Right.
Which I use beautiful. I love it.
I like that. For me, the biggest part, obviously, of these two chapters comes down to what's on the cover of my chapter, or my book, and that is the quest for the golden eggs, right?
Okay.
Now, I think that there's 3 ways to see these golden eggs, 3 metaphors that I got to. What?
Okay, I'm just going to number them. That's kind of what I do when you talk.
The golden egg is a metaphor for adulthood.
Okay.
Harry Potter fell in love with Quidditch, right?
He did.
And he fell in love with flying before he fell in love with Quidditch.
Yes.
Now, this wizard tournament is for a whole lot of money, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like being an adult and earning a living. When pressed with the first task, Harry reverts to what he loves to earn money.
Okay.
Which is something 75% of people, the other 3 contestants in the tournament, right, don't do. 75% of people don't say, this is what I love, this is how I'll make money.
Okay.
Everyone else at the tournament said, okay, this is what's presented, I'm going to attack it in this fashion.
To further your metaphor a little bit, he is using what he knows in his childhood life, what he loves, what he's passionate about, for the first time in a very real, very adult situation.
Exactly.
Look at you go, already.
Cedric tries to fool Life, the dragon, with a decoy. I'm sorry, I couldn't read my own writing there.
I'm aware, I have to read your writing too.
Like taking a job based on money, but it's something you don't love.
Okay.
And he gets burned. Fleur tries to tempt Life and steal the money, basically the Kardashian approach.
Fleur Kardashian.
And Crumb tries to bully Life and be violent, and ends up with a good score, but it's bad for the future generations of life as the other dragon eggs are crushed.
Okay.
Right?
Very interesting.
So that violence never really perpetuates anything good for all parties involved.
Okay. Look at you. That's reading way into it.
Right. Since we only talk about sex, let's envision this as a metaphor for losing one's virginity.
Okay.
Male Harry Potter, female dragon, they tussle, and the man claims the egg. That egg is he claims the female egg. The whole thing is sort of secret and mysterious, right? Like sex is. And scary beforehand. Especially as the father figures in Harry's life just sort of pretend they're going to offer him advice. Did you ever go to your old man for sex advice?
Absolutely not.
Did he offer you the birds and the bees talk?
Kind of.
Kind of. Didn't really happen, did it?
No, it didn't.
Did Mad Eye Moody really give any advice?
Nobody tried.
Did Bagman really give any advice? Which isn't really a father figure, but...
Sirius.
Did Sirius really give any advice?
Okay.
And ultimately, all of these men are distracted before really explaining anything. Also, apparently, through this metaphor, the younger you are, the quicker it goes.
Okay.
No, just me? Okay, that's fine.
Oh, Adrian, all you talk about is the sex and the race and the religion. Carry on.
Let's get to this one. Harry Potter is, for lack of a more direct cliche, the golden boy, yes?
Yes.
His mother defended him fiercely, did she not?
Yes.
She still lost him.
Yes.
This scenario is a metaphor for the Potter child's situation.
Okay.
Most interestingly, in the scenario, Harry is the avatar for Voldemort.
Interesting.
Is this foreshadowing?
Is this foreshadowing? How so?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. Like, I brought up a couple weeks ago, I brought up continuously during the series that the whole story of Harry Potter's escaping Voldemort seems sort of shaky to me. Because it's repeated so many times. And I don't know that I trust it at this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that there's probably something extracurricular to the story going on. It seems strange that this child would have... Okay, so the scar. Say that was something the parents had prepared the child for this and endowed him with their power. Now, if I'm, say, James Potter, and I have the power to endow that, I'm going to endow myself and hope that I can beat Voldemort, rather than hoping my child's body can withstand Voldemort, right? Because it doesn't really make sense that way. And I don't obviously know everything about magic in this, but it would seem that there's something else there. So, Harry Potter as Voldemort. Harry Potter as the evil power. I wonder if there's something there.
Okay.
And I tear apart J.K. Rowling a lot. But if there is something there, I will give kudos. By the time we get there, wherever there may be, I don't, honest to God, know anything about this shit.
Okay.
But if we get there and I remember, or if I don't remember, remind me.
I feel like I should make a little notation. Because...
Spoilers.
Well, just a little notation.
Okay.
However, I think it is a really good idea that it is an allusion to the Voldemort story, where Harry has now become Voldemort and he's going in and he is stealing the child. Yeah. From the mother. It's wonderful, because that is something that I really wanted to talk about a lot, is the concept of taking the mother dragon and having her basically defend her children. And which, when Crumb, obviously attacks, what is it, Chinese fireball?
I think so.
It just destroys all the children. So the dragon is the one who's losing here.
Right.
And in a book which comments so much about justice for all races, with the House Elf Liberation Front and all of this, where do you draw the line? Because it seems once we get to, animal rights, the dragon, who gives a shit?
Right.
So...
Especially when the griffin... the hippogriff.
The hippogriff.
Was so precious.
So precious. The blast-ended scroots are so precious that we're nurturing them and we're raising them from youth.
Well, see, I don't know that you can use the blast-ended scroot as an example in that way, because they are protected by
Hagrid.
Whereas the hippogriff was protected by Hagrid, but was ultimately going to suffer.
Okay.
And it was the trope of the story.
But it seems very interesting that a novel where a large portion of this is dealing with the rights of the races, basically. Of all things. Of house elves, of wizards, of mudbloods. That as soon as you put in an unintelligible creature, a dragon, which in its defense is never really considered unintelligible. In most fantasy tropes, dragons are the intelligent, wise ones. They have forethought. Their rights don't matter.
Well, I think it goes back to the whole arguments of do you pet dragons?
Do you pet dragons? You don't pet dragons.
Right. Then they're not protected. Okay. It doesn't matter. They're not cute. I can't cuddle them. Go ahead.
Okay. If that's the way you want to go with this.
Well, it's not the way I want to go with this. I think that's what's sort of being reflected here, right? But are dragons like chickens in that they will lay eggs that don't have babies inside, right? They will.
I don't think so. Racking my fantasy mythos brain here, not so much. Dragons are usually considered kind of a rare species, so I think it's unusual that they would have a large amount of eggs, or would they produce them often?
Right.
Which
would lend it to the interpretation that these eggs are not fertilized because there are so many.
Possibly. Very well.
But, I mean, I don't know.
So, Harry gives Cedric the hint of, hey, there's dragons. That's the first task. How do you feel about that?
I think that is a commendable moment for the Potter child growing up.
Okay. That is, in essence, the enemy knows what's going on here. You're technically the enemy, but we also go to school together. You're my friend. Everybody else can pick on you. Or I can pick on you, but nobody else can pick on you.
Right.
Cedric Diggory is Jesse. That's my reference that only you will get. Jesse Diggory. Nobody else gets to pick on you, Jesse Diggory. But I'll make sure you're taken care of. You're good. But you let me know if anybody else try and fuck with you, Jesse Diggory.
Well, but it's the interesting thing to note here is the psychology behind gambling.
Okay.
A little bit, right? If I win, I 100% win.
Okay.
If Cedric wins, I 25% win. If these other two win, I 0% win.
Okay.
Right?
So Cedric is the insurance bet.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, especially in the role where Harry Potter has the influence, right? Because if I tip him off and he wins, he likes me. And he's getting all that cash at the end.
Hey, it's time to make allies. We don't know how this is going to play out. You better make friends.
Right.
Because enemies, you already got them.
One thing I was upset to see is that everyone survived this challenge.
Okay.
That sort of dampens the stakes. And by survive, I don't necessarily mean actually lived. But everyone survives in the tournament. Everyone moves on.
They succeeded.
Everyone succeeded.
Okay.
I think that it would have been nice. It would have built suspense if someone had lost out.
Okay.
I think the obvious choice is Cedric.
Okay.
But I definitely don't think that all of them should have advanced.
We will see that coming soon, of how that's going to play out.
Okay.
In multiple fashions. If that works.
Okay.
And, you hang me up now for, giving you spoilers, but we're going to get there. Do you want to talk more about dragons? Do you want to talk about house elves? What do you want to get with this?
If you have anything else on dragons, now would be the time, because everything else I've got moves on.
Okay, let's move on.
This is just something that I actually admired in these two chapters. George and Fred are benevolent agents of chaos.
Okay.
The stereotype of pranksters is that they are clever but unintelligent. Otherwise, they would be a force for good. But when Hermione asks how to get into the kitchen, they tell her. Not only do they tell her, but they already know why she wants in.
Mm-hmm.
They've thought it out.
Yes.
And they tell her anyway.
Yes.
These are interesting quirks for the prankster third party that has no stake in the game.
Okay.
Right?
And Fred and George are very interesting because, you said the prankster would be the, you just slough them off, they don't know what they're doing, they're just causing chaos. They do know what they're doing. Because if you look at the joke that they played on Neville, whatever pastry he ate,
Right.
it was a prank. And then it was for profit.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, now that you see how these work, they can be yours for the low price of. Fred and George are businessmen.
Yeah. Fred and George are the Dalton and Adrian. Right? We're doing this on BookTube. We're the Fred and George of BookTube.
There you go. Look at that. So it is interesting, and a very interesting dynamic between those two. And of the Weasley children, beyond Ron, you do get to know Fred and George, I think, the best.
Okay.
We do get the other Weasley children, obviously, but Fred and George are almost always there.
Jenny,
quite a bit so, yeah. Bill and Charlie,
Are they present past this book, Bill and Charlie?
Yes, they will make reoccurring appearances. Percy as well, of course. But no, Fred and George are just semi-main characters. They're there. They move action forward.
Right, yeah.
Okay. House Elves. There have been comments mentioned that the whole House Elf thing here is not an allusion towards slavery.
What?
Yes.
Hold on.
And that we're reading too far into this, and it's not any kind of allusion to this, that, the other. I would like to point out, I don't often circle or highlight in my books. I highlight, but I don't circle. I don't have 7 different pens for one book like you do.
Right.
But it is in this chapter, the House Elf Liberation Front, that the House Elf Dobby refers to his lifestyle as, quote, enslavement.
Yeah, it doesn't get more direct.
I mean, I'm done here. I'm done.
It does not get more direct.
So, boom.
Well, we also get this quote from Dobby, which is very interesting. Or was this from Winky? I don't remember. No, this was Dobby, I believe. Dobby likes freedom, miss, but he doesn't want too much.
Okay.
I want my freedom. I don't want too much.
Dobby wants to be paid, but 10 galleons is just too much. Just give me enough to get by.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with this here.
Now, here's a quote from Winky.
Okay.
That I'd like to put out there because I think that it's...
Are you going to read it in a Winky voice, or just...
No, I'm not.
I'm upset. I'm very upset.
Oh, you is a bad elf, Dobby, moaned Winky, tears leaking down her face once more. My poor Mr. Crouch, what is he doing without Winky? He is needing me. He is needing my help. I is looking after the Crouches all my life, and my mother is doing it before me, and my mother's mother and my grandmother is doing it before her. Oh, what is they saying if they knew Winky was freed? Oh, the shame! The shame! She buried her face in her skirt and bawled again. That's page 381.
Okay.
Now, I want to read you a quote from another text that I went and looked up, and I want you to tell me it sounds much different, and then I will give you the context.
Okay.
Lord bless you, sir. I knows all about it. Dey ain't never a man in this settlement what won't tell your old Julius McAdoo you's born and raised on this year same plantation. Does that sound much different than quotes such as, Dobby likes freedom, miss, but he doesn't want too much?
Not that much different.
Oh, you is a bad elf, Dobby. Now, do you know what that's from? You've read it.
I've read it?
You've read it.
Okay.
You were supposed to read it.
Is it, what is it?
It is from The Gooford Grapevine by Charles Chestnut, published in 1881 by The Atlantic.
Okay.
This is still taught at the university level.
Okay.
Because, A, the difficulty with which it takes to read and understand that character, but B, because what it represents is it represents a type of racism that is not... Charles Chestnut, in this piece, is not setting this black character as evil or as necessarily bad, but this is the genuine image that Charles Chestnut hoped to convey because he thought it was an accurate black person.
Okay.
Right? This is a type of racism which is possibly the worst type of racism. Because if I am the type of racist that says black people are evil, black people are bad. Black people are a stress to the state. If I am that type of racist, all I have to be shown is a type of black person, is a black person that is not that type of person, right?
Okay.
You show me someone who is upstanding, and I have to acknowledge, case by case, this is not a bad person, right? That is a type of racism that is defeatable.
Okay.
There is also a type of racism that is the racism of the ignorant, right? I don't know anything about black people. I am going to take anything that comes in from media or other types of movies or news or my racist friends.
This is something we're dealing with today still.
Right. This is I would imagine the most prevalent type of racism, not necessarily with black people, but with people from other parts of the world, because while blacks are a minority here, basically everyone knows a black person, right?
Okay.
Like, you know, you have black friends. But, for example, people from the Middle East. A lot of people from the Middle... That's still such a minority in this part of the country that many people have never met.
This is early 1900s when the Asian immigration started coming in.
Right.
The fear of race, basically racism born from ignorance.
Right. Again, that racism is easily defeatable.
Okay.
Right. By exposure.
Okay.
It's akin to that first type of racism, but this type of racism is a racism that says not that black people are worse, and not that black people are mysterious, but that I understand black people, and this is how they are, right? I have this character who speaks, "Lord bless you, sir. I knows all about it. Dey ain't never a man in this settlement what I won't tell you. Tell your old Julius McAdoo you's born and raised on this year same plantation. I know the black people. This is what they are.
I know the House Elves. This is what they are.
Precisely.
This is the purpose that they serve. This is what they have always done. This is Winky, whose family has been born into slavery. She's existed with this. She's accepted this. And when she is given that hint of freedom, is terrified of it. Because she's never known anything different.
Where is it? I was looking after the Crouches all my life, and my mother is doing it before me, and my grandmother doing it before her.
Yep.
Your old Julius McAdoo was born and raised on this here same plantation.
Yep.
Right? So what's most troubling about the way that this is set up in this novel is that saying, I know the black people, and this is how they are. We also have this character who is a white woman that says, this is what you need.
This is true.
And we gave credit early on for J.K. Rowling not putting race on many of her characters so that they could be, right, any race you wanted them to be. Ambiguous. But the more I think about it, the more I think that Hermione must be white in the text. Because if she were not, I like to think that there would have been more of an uproar from J.K. Rowling when a white girl was cast as Hermione in the movies, right?
Okay.
If you are this person who is willing to write social justice type movements in your book, the House Elf Movement Act, right?
Okay.
If you're willing to write that into your book, you're going batshit crazy.
Yes.
When your novel is whitewashed. Wouldn't you think?
Absolutely so. And we have been recently labeled just a beautiful curiosity of the comments as social justice warriors. That is something that I've never been called before.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a compliment. Thank you.
I don't know that whoever's saying that really sees through the facade of what's going on here.
So, but I do think you're absolutely right, and I think that solidifies your argument here. And hopefully we can put this argument to rest now. I don't think it gets any more clear than that.
No.
I
mean, when I'm drawing direct
yes.
correlations to one of the most blatantly racist texts in history.
Yes.
Okay.
And the House Elves are referring to their lifestyle as enslavement. It's almost verbatim the same text.
Yes.
It does not get any more clear than that. So I think we can put the House Elf racism argument to rest and hopefully move forward to a new argument.
And hopefully something happens in the course of this book that makes it appear like, boy, these House Elves don't just need a white woman to stand up for them.
We'll see when we get there.
That's what I'm hoping.
Okay.
And there's been times where J.K. Rowling hasn't let me down and has come through on something that's blatantly obvious, but I don't know about this.
I think with J.K. Rowling, what we need to remember with Adrian reads Harry Potter is you have to, you want to win the war, not the battle. I think in the end you're going to say, you know what, J.K., all right, you did well.
You think?
I think so. I honestly do.
Okay.
Is she going to lose some battles? Yeah.
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 There's nothing. This is, at this point, astounding to me.
We will continue next week with Adrian Reads Harry Potter. We will be doing 2 chapters throughout the month of October. If you haven't checked out our TBR, we're planning for 50 videos in October.
We're doing a lot of stuff right now.
So if that 1 chapter a week really helps us.
well, and plus the fact that we're still finding entire shows worth of stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
In here. So I think that bears acknowledgement.
Absolutely. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Continue on this journey with us, and hopefully we'll get through it eventually. Make sure you hit that like button as well. We always appreciate a like on these videos.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter to see people yelling at me at Stripped Cover, and on Facebook at Stripped Cover Lit. Stripped Cover Lit. Stripped Cover Lit.